Welcome to So You Want to Be a Real Estate Agent. Are you evaluating your career in real estate? Feel like you're ready for a fresh start? Or ready to take your career to the next level? This is your podcast. Welcome back to So You Want to Be a Real Estate Agent. I am back again with rock star new agent Tina Nader. So Tina is just like coming in hot right now from a morning. She just came from a settlement. Congratulations. Yay, another success. And this was for a buyer that she found a place for really quickly, right? Like this was a situation where she had to find something fast. It's her, right? You got her in? I think, okay. Yeah. Yes. And that's something you've been really good at is just launching right in, getting people what they want, getting them a quick result, which means you've done a really good job understanding what the buyer needs to begin with, which I think is kind of where it all starts. So I want to kind of talk about two things today. One, I want you first, before we launch in, to give the audience an update since our last podcast of what you've been doing, which is a lot. Wait till you hear. And then also I want to talk about what you are doing to get to the heart of what people want and need so quickly, and then to be able to help them get results. And then I also want to talk about one of the things that is a challenge when you get as busy as you are this quickly, which is overwhelm and stress. Because it is like, it hits everybody, and it hits everybody at different stages of their careers. It hits everybody hard when they start to get successful. And I think it's one of the things that when we learn to deal with as quickly as we possibly can, it can really set you up for longevity in the business. So I want to talk about it a little bit too. But first of all, let's catch the audience up. So let's see, the last time we spoke to everybody, you had just closed, I think you had 4 transactions, you had listings coming on the market, and you were like in the middle of a real roll, and we kind of had shared your secrets to your success for getting there. So since then, tell everybody what you've been doing.
Since then, I have been hosting a ton of open houses, both for myself and others for Meredith or anyone else who needs it. I really think that that's a great way to find new clients, and it's really proving to me that it sure is, because I'm getting good results from it. And I think, like Meredith was saying, it's really finding out what everyone really needs, getting to the bottom of that, and then looking for something that fits that need. And if you can't find exactly what fits that need, before you present it as an option to the buyer, have in mind suggestions that can make that need work. Whether it's adding an additional space to put in a closet because a bedroom doesn't have one, or maybe just checking that there's plumbing in a different space if someone has asked for another bathroom on a floor that doesn't have one. You know, these are just things that I've been hearing lately. And before I show someone something, I make sure that I know I'm not going to waste, remember, their time or mine. So I'm making sure that there's a way and a game plan for each. So what I have done is on the last client I showed a few houses to over the weekend, I went through what was available, and I had their list of what was important, and I went about and mapped it out on a floor plan. Okay, I really was like, oh, I know he wants this, she wants this, the kids need this can work for this. And then there was another house that was a little smaller, but I knew that they would really like it because of the location and because it had a basketball hoop and a really great fun area to play, but things weren't exactly what they wanted. But could I make this one work? And I thought that I could, and guess what? I presented both options, and last night they put an offer on the one that I thought they could. So again, you know, being able to think out of the box and knowing, hey, yeah, there is plumbing here. We could actually add an extra powder room, and guess what? Here's the range of what that would cost to you, but here's the value it would add to your house when you do want to sell it as well. So again, thinking of all these things all around to be able to know and present to a client to show the benefit and to also show that, hey, you're just adding value anyways.
Yeah, and I think you said 2 really important things there. One is understanding what they want and understanding it quickly. And one thing I've seen you do so well, and I have to say, I listened to Tina, I sit right across the hall from her, and you were on the phone with somebody yesterday, and you just handled the conversation so beautifully. And afterwards I said, oh my gosh, that was like magic watching you do that. You've come so far, and you've just figured out how to plug in the right things at the right time. Some of that is natural instinct, I think. Some of it is your experience in having done sales before, and probably education too, because part of what we do as real estate agents when we're really good at it is we educate people. But the other thing is that you've mastered a lot of like the scripts that we've worked on together. I was listening to this podcast this morning, and the person who was talking about the subject, it was communicating effectively. And what he was saying is what looks seamless to people who are on the outside is actually the result of incredibly hard work and practice at mastery. Mastery looks like flow when you have it done, but that takes practice behind the scenes. And you've done that. You've been like nose to the grindstone, coming into training every single day, practicing your scripts, doing all that, listening, watching, learning, and you adapt really quickly too. So when something doesn't work, this is another beautiful thing with you, Tina, and this, I hope everybody listens to this and takes a page out of your book here, is when you have something that feels like an obstacle or a challenge, you learn from it. Like immediately you go, what's the lesson here? And I've heard you say it like verbally, you'll go, okay, the lesson here was, or I think the lesson here is, and then you just move on. And the other thing I love is the other day you had something that happened that felt like a loss in the moment, although you turned it around completely into now what is a win. But in that moment, you came in, and Tina came in a mood I have not seen you in a lot. You were like coming in not feeling great about the world that morning, but what you said was, okay. And so now I'm like over it, and I'm gonna go get 3 wins. And I was like, yes, exactly. And you did.
And I
have got 3. That's just what your attitude is. So to be successful, like just even if you have a little bit of that, like she's got it on steroids, but if you have a little bit of it, it really steads you well in real estate. So you do get to the heart of the matter, and you ask questions. So circling back to what I was saying about the phone conversation, and right before we started recording, you were on another phone conversation. And what I observe about you is you don't hesitate to ask questions when you need to get information, not for you, but to serve the client. So I actually don't know what the person said to you just now, but I'm assuming it was something like, well, I'm not sure if that's the right house or something, or they don't love that one or something like that. And you said, oh, well, how come? Why not, right? So many agents would go, oh, okay. But you're like, why? Because you need to know if you're going to serve the client. The person you just mentioned that you talked about who made the offer last night, they were looking at a very different kind of house to begin with. And I think many agents would assume because that was the house they were looking at, that the house that you ended up writing the offer on would not be a fit for them. But like you said, you thought creatively out of the box, you understood what they really needed, and then were able to match the house that you wrote the offer on with what their actual set of needs were. So again, creating a win there. So just beautifully done in all of those ways. So good. Okay, so you wrote offers, you came, we had a seller seminar last night, you were writing offers, you have done, you listened to her say, do open houses. That's been such a huge vehicle. If you guys are trying to get successful and you're not holding open houses regularly, you are missing a huge area of opportunity. Get out there, hold an open house. If you don't have one of your own, ask somebody else in your office to let you hold an open house for them, and then get in there and communicate with the people who come through. Let me ask you about your open house style for a second. When people come into open houses, what's your objective, would you say?
My objective is to, first of all, make them feel welcome and comfortable enough that they can look around and ask me any questions they have. And while they're asking questions, my objective is to find out really what is important to them and when do they want to move, and is this the area they're looking to move. So it's a lot of things going on at the same time, but little by little, I'm kind of like, what's this, what's that, pulling everything, getting all the information I need. And obviously, of course, finding out if they're working with a realtor, because if they're not, I'd love to be able to represent them. So again, finding out what they need, seeing if this place that I'm showing them is a good fit first, because that's first, right? And if not, what else do I have that can be a good fit for them? because here they are right in front of you, right? You got to take advantage of this time with this person. Don't let it slip through the cracks. Find out what's important to them and follow up. So all of this really is a matter of following up, not being pushy, but giving great service. So those are two different things. How many times has someone told you they're going to do something and they didn't, and you're like, okay, well, I thought they were going to do that, but they didn't. When I say I'm going to do something, I definitely do it, and then I leave it up to their hands to, say, wow, yeah, I do want to work with this person. She's on top of it. And when I follow up, I'm giving them valuable information. I'm not just saying, thanks for coming to my open house. No, I'm actually providing them with information on how the open house went, or if that house went under contract, or it was really great to meet you. When we last spoke, you mentioned that you were looking for X, Y, and Z. I do have 3 listings that I totally thought of that could fit your needs. I'd love to set up a time for you to come by our office and we can sit down and I can show you what these are. How does that sound to you? And really being confident in what you're saying, but having, again, respecting their time, but having options that are viable, not just, oh, I have a few things. Just know what they want, make sure it fits, and like Meredith said, that you really can't ask enough questions. I say this because sometimes you want to follow up a question with a question because you might not be getting the exact information you need, because some people don't want to share everything, or they might not even know what they want. So you need to go dig a little further, and then it clicks and you're like, oh, okay, so actually what you need is this and not this, or we can make this one work by doing this.
Such a great point. I always call it peeling away the layers of the onion until you get to the heart of the onion. And that does take practice, especially if you're not used to asking questions or comfortable with asking questions. But it's almost like, consider yourself like a doctor diagnosing the problem, right? You got to get to figuring out what the problem is to know how you can create the solution that the person needs, that they're telling you they need. But like you said, I love what you said, sometimes they don't even know. I think a lot of times they don't even know, or they think they know, but it turns out to actually be something different than they think. So when you can get to the bottom of it, and then all of a sudden you open their eyes to something that they didn't know was possible, or you go, hold on a second, because of the fact you said whatever, I just thought of one that I didn't think of before, but now that I know this, I think we need to go see this. That turns out to be the house for them, which is very much like what you did on the house you wrote on last night.
And so true what she just said, how she went back and said, hold on, I know you mentioned this was important. Remind them that, but place that in front of them, So I think, they're actually seeing and hearing that you're hearing them. So
speaking of hearing them, I want just to pause for a second, and as you listen to Tina speak or watch us speak, one of the things, and I pointed this out at one of our agent trainings we did the other day, the inflection of your voice. You said present yourself with confidence, right? And that's one thing you do really, really well. And part of the way you're doing that is how you are using your inflection. So what you might notice, and just kind of listen for this as Tina speaks, and you might want to go back and replay it, but look at what she is doing with the end of her statements. She's doing what we call a downswing. So when you speak, you make a statement like, I think we need to go look at this house. You don't go, I think we need to go look at this house, right? Because that sounds like you're lacking confidence or you're asking a question. We tend to ask when we raise our tone. And that's okay for questions sometimes, but even when you're asking a question, when you're coming across in a professional manner, practice, and it does take practice to do it if you're not used to it. A downswing at the end of your statement is going to go a long way in instilling that sense of confidence in what you're saying. So I just wanted to take a minute and highlight that, because I'm noticing you doing it as you're explaining how you communicate with people. I want the audience to see it. Okay, so you have had this other success, and you're writing offers left and right. You are on the phone with clients all the time, thinking about creative ways to help people through your exceptional service, which you also mentioned, and exactly right. Great service and being salesy are two completely different things. And what you're doing is providing great service to everybody that you are touching, which is so beautiful to see. let's pivot for a minute and talk about handling overwhelm. Because here's the thing, I don't know if you guys know this about Tina. You might remember, if you remember our initial conversation with Tina. She has a child at home who is going into 5th grade, right?
Sixth grade.
Sixth grade. Middle school, yeah, oh my gosh. And so, you're a busy mom. Like, you're running around, you're doing things. He has doctor's appointments this week. We know how that all goes. You've got clients blowing up your phone so much that you had to turn your phone off before we started, because it's like nonstop, which is great because you're making so many inroads and, touching people constantly. But how are you finding the kind of like stress factor? Because I know this is another thing that we all struggle with. There is overwhelm in this business. There are moments when it's like you hardly feel like you get a moment to breathe. You're working such long hours. We've been slacking back and forth at 10:45, 11 o'clock lately because right now we're in that season where this is like the service that we have to provide to clients is being available those late hours. And it's not always, so don't get scared that that's your life as a real estate agent. You're gonna be working till 11 o'clock every night. But sometimes in your career, especially when we're in this busy season, you're gonna be working long hours, and that's just how it is. So first of all, how are you finding that? Was this a surprise to you at all, that it was gonna be this level of like intensity?
Did you know that 63% of sellers and buyers choose their agent based on local proximity? That's why farming or geo-farming is such a proven method for long-term success in real estate. If you've been considering becoming a farmer or a geo-farmer in your market, but not sure how to get started, check out Farming for Real Estate Agents. This blueprint will walk you through exactly how to choose a geofarm area, how to figure out by running some calculations whether the farm area that you're selecting can support your goals, and will help you track your return on investment. You'll also hear from locally famous farmers who have already dominated their market shares, so you can R&D their secrets and dominate the area that you choose to geofarm.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I will say, I've always been a person who will work whatever hours I need to get something done, but I feel like this is a little bit more than that, because you do get clients, wanting things really quickly or really late at night. And it's not just one, there's a lot, right? So you just want to have a handle on everything, but you want to give great service and get back. So I'm learning, obviously, as I go too, because there's only, a point where you probably shouldn't be texting someone back, at 11 o'clock, unless you've had a discussion with them that I will let you know if they accept that contract, whatever time it is.
Yes.
Sometimes I do say that. I'm like, so
Yes.
if it's up till 10:30, I'll call you, or I'll
Yes.
let you know
Yes.
that what I hear back regarding the house. I said, but after that, I'll let you know tomorrow morning as soon as I wake up, because I can't be up till 1 checking my every email to see if, the contract came back
Absolutely.
at 2 a.m. So
Right.
I have to, get some sleep, right?
Yes.
Um,
You have to have boundaries.
Yeah.
And I think
That's
that's
exactly-
the thing that we're like, you're learning. Because here's the thing, when you have a servant spirit and heart like you do, you want to be there for people every hour of every day.
Mhm.
And you feel almost as much as they do the anxiety of what they're going through, and you so want the result to happen for them.
Mhm.
And at the same time, what we know is if you do that consistently for a long period of time, 2 things will happen. One, you'll start to resent the people you're working with. If your family doesn't start to resent them for you first, and then they're going to get mad at you. Or 2, you will burn out. So there's no way to forever run at that pace. So you do have to guard your energy, and you also need to create these boundaries. So I love what you just said about, like, sometimes I'll say up till 10:30. If I hear anything, you'll know. And they'll also know, okay, if 10:30 hit, you're out. Like, you signed off for the night, and you're not going to be sitting there. But here's the other thing sometimes I think we don't think about is with clients, like, they're waiting too. They're like, oh my gosh, well, Tina said that she'll be monitoring until 10:30, so I guess we have to stay up till 10:30, right? Sometimes they want to be let off the hook.
Right,
They
right.
want to be, you'll say, like, go to bed, 10 o'clock, go to bed, we'll talk in the morning. Nothing's going to happen between 10 o'clock. What did your mom used to say? Nothing good happens between 10 o'clock and 8 in the morning, right? So that kind of a thing. The other thing is to set a precedent for how you work professionally, because if people think that they have access to you 24 hours a day, they will access you 24 hours a day. So if you say, okay, I will get back to you within an hour of your call, or I will get back to you, I'm in appointments most of the day, I'm going to call you as soon as I can between appointments. So you set that expectation with the client right away. Usually when I'm with a client, the first time I meet with them, I will say, so you see that I don't have my phone out right now while we're talking. So you know I'm going to respect the time when I'm in person with people, and I'm in person with people a lot. So I might be a settlement, I might be showing your property, I might be at an appointment like this. During those times, I will not be answering my phone, but I will tell you the minute I finish the appointment, I always work in a buffer time to check my phone. So I will call you back the minute that I can. So now they know you're not waiting. They're not waiting for you. You're waiting for the time that you can actually attend to them. And then they don't feel anxious that like you're putting them off or you forgot them. They're not blowing you up, that kind of thing. The other thing to think about is making sure that you have some kind of like a protocol for responding in a way that feels right to you. Some people set like an autoresponder on their text. They say, I'm in an appointment right now, but as soon as I'm out of the appointment, I'll give you a call back, voicemail, the same kind of thing. So you can think about that as well. Making sure that again, you're respecting your time first, and you're also respecting other people's time by doing that. But it can definitely feel like a lot. The other thing that Tina did this week that I just want to share is, which I thought was, I think it was this week, or maybe it was late last week, is you said no to a potential client. And that was hard, I know, and I'm not going to reveal too much information about it, but I will say it was somebody who really wanted your help, and it was somebody who I think would not have respected your boundaries, and it was a difficult situation to say no to, but I'm so proud of you for doing it, because so many new agents would just grasp at any piece of business that came their way, and you saw very clearly that if you had said yes to that, it would have been a slippery slope in terms of trying to get your time back and your focus back, and it was going to be the kind of situation where there was not a respect for boundaries or anything like that. So that was hard. How are you feeling with that now?
I'm feeling really good, actually, and I thought I put myself first, so that felt good. And you know what? At the end of the day, I did what was best for me and what was best for the client. So I know I did the right thing.
Yes.
I thought about everything full circle, and then I looked at it and really thought about diving in, would this benefit me? Would this benefit them? No. Either way, it was going to be better to say, you know what? Unfortunately, I have to step back from this one, and here's what I recommend for you. But I gave a recommendation, and I just said, I'm very busy right now. I have to step back from this. I wouldn't be able to give you the service that I would want to. Yep. So, in this case, I feel more comfortable having someone else assist you with that.
That's perfect.
And they respected it. And they said, even after, I really respect you for being upfront and honest with me and transparent, instead of, taking her down a whole loop or him down a loop and then saying I could do something and taking a lot longer to do something. I basically just went right in and told them the truth, and then that was it. And now they're happy and I'm happy, and we've all moved on. Yeah,
it's perfect. And I think the other thing was, you said it wouldn't have been a service to yourself or them, or to the other clients to whom you've already committed, because you have a lot on your plate with the other people that you're already serving. And I think it would have actually probably obstructed your ability to take new business from the people who are going to be most benefited from your service. So all of that, I think. What else are you doing to deal with stress and overwhelm?
Yeah, so one of eating Haagen-Dazs ice cream. We just had one. No, I did do that once, but no. Actually, it's been raining a lot, but I actually grabbed a girlfriend the other day and we just went for a quick walk, even in the rain. We put our raincoats, and I'm not the only one stressed out. Everyone's feeling it. I feel it. My friends are. Everyone's busy. I don't know if it's this time of the year. School's about to end. There's a lot going on with everything. There's a lot of change going on with schedules. So I feel like everyone's in the same boat. So we both looked at each other and we were like, let's take a walk. And I went and grabbed my raincoat. She grabbed hers. And guess what? We didn't talk about our problems. We actually like just took a walk, breathed. You know, and my dog helps me a lot, I have to say. And then doing something for myself, like, this might sound funny to some people, but sometimes just doing something like treating yourself to getting your nails done, having that 45 minutes just to unwind. Because guess what? When you get your nails done, you can't be on your phone.
It's so
right?
true. Yes.
So I was like, oh my gosh, I get a break. I'm going to put my phone off and down, and for 45 minutes, I'm gonna breathe and relax and just think about, you know, everything else that's going through my head that is about real estate now. But I just took a break and that was great. But also, like, I do get stressed out, I will say, and overwhelmed too, but I also get excited because I know it's gonna happen afterward, you know? Because sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, I have this, this, and this. And then I'm like, wait a minute, I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful for everything that I have and for all this opportunity, because look, it could totally be the opposite way.
Yeah.
So I'm not, you know, in any way saying I want to change anything. I just want to have, you know, a little piece of something to myself and to be able to give to my own family, obviously.
Yes.
But I just make my list, a to-do list, and boom, cross it off. And it just keeps getting longer and longer every day. So my nights have gotten a lot longer and my mornings have gotten earlier. I will say this morning, I actually came to the office at 7 something. Had to do some work before I went to a walkthrough and then a settlement. So I knew if I didn't get in early this morning that I would regret it later. And I was right.
Wow.
So, I mean, in order to, if you want to be successful, you prioritize.
Yes.
What's important to you?
Yes.
You know, is it to make the deal happen, to close the deal, or is it to get rest?
Yes.
You know, and to put things off. I don't want to put anything off. I mean, I have to say, I prioritize the things that are important, I get it done, and then next, move on. You know?
Yes, and having that ability to, we've talked about this before, have the instinct to prioritize, to know what to prioritize. And if you don't know that, it's okay, it doesn't come naturally to everybody. Work with a mentor, your team leader, find somebody who can help you figure out what those priority activities are. Like, you know, when something, you can just sniff it out. When it's going to be revenue producing, that's what you go to first. You just get it. Some people don't. Some people, it takes a minute to understand what revenue producing activities are versus non-revenue producing activities.
Yeah.
And again, a great mentor, team leader can help you figure all that out. And I think the other thing that I heard you say is adjusting your time. Like, you have to do that sometimes, and not all the time, but having the ability to be flexible and knowing that just because you come into the office at 7 one day does not mean you have to come into the office at 7 every day.
Right.
That's actually one of the luxuries and the difficulties or challenges sometimes of this profession. For a long time, I was like, okay, well, every day is a work day and every day is a work day. But what if you flip it around and you think, well, that means every day is a weekend day, right? Like, that means you get to pick what you do every single day, which is one of the coolest things about this profession. We do get to choose to do this, whom we work with, what we spend our time on. And when you do all those things in the right combination, then you are immensely successful, and that's what you're experiencing. So good, so good. Any other learnings that you've had this week that you want to share with the audience?
I can share one little thing. So, I did have somebody that was a walk-in client the other day, which was really exciting for me because I haven't had that yet. And it was somebody that we sat down and talked, and I at first didn't know if we got off on the right foot because I kind of felt like our personality wasn't exactly meshing. I was trying to find out what that person really wanted, and I wasn't getting the information I needed, but I still did my best, and I tried to kind of get a shell of what at least I could use to help that person find what they're looking for. And then right as that person left, I sent a follow-up text with everything we discussed on point, and then I said how I could help him, and then I would like to connect him also with somebody in the mortgage industry to just go over loans and what this person could do that would help him, be ready for, any house that he really fell in love with so he wouldn't lose the opportunity. And bam, wow, what a change. All of a sudden, I have become the hero now. I feel really great reading it, and it was just like, thank you so much. You are awesome. You're amazing. And then, I followed up with videos and photos of different homes, the 2 different homes that I thought would be great fits for him. And again, wow, this is so great. I wasn't expecting this. I wasn't expecting this. I wasn't expecting, but you know what? I guess my lesson in all of this was I just took a deep breath and I was like, okay, so we didn't connect on the first connection, which is unusual for me. I have to say, I usually can feel people's vibe and I can connect. I said, but all right, I even said, okay, I'm just going to shake this off and I'm just going to do what I do best, which is find what this guy wants and help him. And I'm going to try to deliver this home to him, and I'm just going to be professional and keep doing what I do best. And lo and behold, guess what? We're going to go look at a house tonight. So I'm really excited about that, turning it around. I just wanted to point this out because I feel like some people have given up and been like, that was awkward. Okay, well, I don't think he likes me very much. I don't want to work with him. It's not about that.
A lot of people would have,
I just decided, okay, well, again, here is an opportunity. What could I do to assure this person that I'm really the best shot at getting the house that he wants? No one's going to go after it more and find him what he wants than me. And it was just proving to him that I had listened. I had listened, and then not only did I listen, I found a way to bridge the gap between buying one home without selling another home and making him feel comfortable in the process by letting him speak to a lender. So.
Yes, perfection. Such a great tip. Thank you for sharing that. You're exactly right. So many people would have just gone, not applying it for me and just let it go and been kind of confounded about what happened. But you just got it, that he needed that summary. He was clearly an analytical type of a personality, so he wanted to see it bullet pointed in writing, which is what you did. And then he said, oh my gosh, she's got me, and now he's got this whole thing. And then you delivered by finding him houses that he wanted. Again, putting the client's interests first. That's what you do so well. And that, I think, is the ultimate in what brings you success. On top of that, all of the natural things that you bring and all of the skills that you've learned. But I hope you guys are learning from watching what Tina is doing. I mean, you definitely are an unusual case in real estate, getting as successful as you have, as quickly as you have. So I am just so grateful and thrilled to have you on the show, to get you sharing what you're doing with our audience so that you can benefit, take some or all of what Tina's doing, plug it into your business model, and grow at the rate that Tina has grown. We will continue to share your successes. Tina, thank you so much as always for sharing with us. If you guys have any questions for Tina, you know how to find us. Feel free to leave us a comment, ask us a question, and of course, if you would leave us a review or a rating on the platform that you are listening, we would be so very grateful. Thank you for being here, for watching, and for listening. Tina, thank you again.
Thank you.
This has been So You Want to Be a Real Estate Agent. We'll see you next time.
Bye.